Hi, everybody. I am Dr. Pranita Rao. I am a former dentist, a published science author, and an intuitive abstract artist. I specifically work with highly sensitive people to empower them to be more creative, and I support their high sensitivity and their highly sensitive journeys. And of course, we are here with Aditi as well, who is a coach for highly sensitive people. Hi, Aditi. Do you want to give a descriptive intro?
Yeah, hi Pranita. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited for our conversation together and excited how it leads us to how two HSPs go on this journey together. So I'm very much excited for today. I am a coach, life coach and healer for highly sensitive people, and it's been a wild journey. I just discovered high sensitivity last year, and it has been a roller coaster. So I take inspiration from my own journey because I've been there, I've done that. So I help people go through it. I'm just one step ahead from others. So I just help them find their high sensitivity and make meaning out of it, not take it as a flaw, but understand it as a strength. So that's what I help people do. So yeah.
That's really nice to know. Well, I have similar goals as well. I love to speak with highly sensitive people because I'm highly sensitive as well. I am a highly sensitive empath, so I feel a lot. I'm aware of a lot more than somebody who is not highly sensitive would be aware of. And that brings a lot of challenges like overwhelm, stimulation, confusion about one's life. And I know how disturbing it can be if somebody is highly sensitive, they're just about figuring it out. I think it's useful to have support of somebody, like you said, who's a few steps ahead of them so that they
Right.
feel like they have to figure it out by themselves.
Yeah.
Um, and which is why I work with highly sensitive artists, abstract artists, and creative people who wish to understand their high sensitivity, but also through their creativity, not just through their high sensitivity. Because I feel like creativity is such a huge part of somebody who's highly sensitive. We sort of
Very
create.
Very true. Even Dr. Ilian Aren, who coined this term high sensitivity, she says that we are more right brain than other people. So we are like naturally more creative. So our
Yeah.
brain works like that. So it's very interesting that you work on that side, like you help people bring out their creativity through abstract art. So we can talk more about this, how abstract art helped you like in your journey.
Wow, it's such it sort of brings me a lot of joy to like just listen to the question. Like my heart it was instantly like, ooh, nice question. But because it brings back so many memories, I think that's why. So I found abstract art when I think in 2022, and I at that time I was very new to the term high sensitivity, and I was figuring out my way as to what am I, who am I. By the time I had a degree in dentistry, I had my master's in science communication. I was a trained artist. I'd published my first science book, but still there was a lot of doubt and fear that I was surrounded by because I was so emotionally charged all the time. And I did not have coping techniques to manage my stimulation or overwhelm and had tried so many techniques by then, like so many spiritual modalities.
Yeah.
Um, I tried Vipassana, I tried Reiki, I tried
I've
shamanic
done the
healing.
part now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Please go on. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. So nice to know. So, and nothing was working out. I'd taken so many coaching sessions, so many healing sessions, and it felt like my sensitivity levels were the same, the problems were the same. But then when I started working with abstract art consciously, I realized that my energy body, my physical body, my emotional body respond to abstract art, and they sort of settle when I'm painting, specifically with making abstract artworks, because I've seen there's a difference when I paint something that would be under the umbrella of fine art work versus when I'm making abstract art. So anyway, I felt that because I was positively responding to abstract art, it sort of became a coping technique. So I started off painting 3 hours a day. Now it is just an hour.
Oh,
My emotional overwhelm was very
wow.
high, and I
Okay.
needed at least 3 hours to sort of feel like I'm grounded back in my body fully. So I understand how it is when you're highly sensitive and you're trying different things to support yourself. But many a times things don't work out, and then you're still trying things. Very frustrating.
Yes,
Which is why I advocate for abstract art, because that has been something that has really helped me.
that's interesting to know, and it is bringing back even my memories because as you're talking about emotional overwhelm, it is very important to have an outlet to, like, for your emotions. And
Yes.
that is very important because there has been days when I just cried for 2 hours straight. Like there was a time like when I was away from home, I was in a job in Bangalore. So I'm a Delhiite, so I moved to Bangalore. I was staying alone in a PG and I just cried for 2 hours straight and there was no reason. Like there was no reason. I was just crying for no reason. So sometimes you don't know like what is happening inside you. You're not able to put in words or anything. So I think this abstract art is very much, like outlet for your emotions, which is also not too overwhelming. Like if you cry, like that is not good for your health. Like
Yeah.
so this is a healthy way of expressing yourself like through art.
Yes, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, and I'm so sorry about your experience.
Yeah.
I've also had days where I would just sort of burst into tears, not knowing what's happening, because the emotion, like I said, the emotional charge is so high, it's difficult to differentiate in those times, right? But
Right.
that's the beauty of abstract art, like you said, because it's not bound by a specific form, figure, shape, you're expressing all those repressed emotions that are then coming up in the form of tears or like emotional overwhelm. So when you paint all of that, it feels so much more better. You feel so much more freer because then whatever you were feeling inside is on the piece of paper or on your canvas board. So you're in a sense you have given it a space to go to, a safe space to go to.
True.
And
True.
I don't know how your experience has been, but I have felt like there has been very little support that I could find for myself in regards to human support when I was figuring out my sort of my way in like after I found out that I was highly sensitive, or after I started trying. Just a second, my charger is just
Sure.
got stuck, and
Sure, sure, sure. That's
yeah.
okay.
Uh, sorry to cut you. Sorry to interrupt. Anyway, so I felt like there was very little human support, and there was so much happening. I felt like I needed to express, and I'm an extrovert, so I love talking. So it's
Okay.
it was like there was so much bubbling inside of me, but nobody to speak to. So that's when I
Yeah.
started painting, and I let my canvas listen to all of that, and I actually
I,
felt heard. So
yeah,
yeah,
I so relate to this. I actually want to touch upon one more thing before we drift to this topic, like because you mentioned you have experience with fine art as well, like abstract art and fine art, but you like more abstract art, and I can definitely relate to that as well, that aspect as well. We talked about this earlier as well, and it
yeah,
brought a huge realization for me, like because I used to do Kathak when I was little, And
Yeah.
even before that, I think maybe I would have been like 4 years, 5 years, I don't even remember, but I used to dance a lot. Like,
Right.
just out of curiosity, a child is dancing, watching TV. I knew all the songs, like all the steps to all the Bollywood songs, and I would just dance on my own. Like, I would just be in a trance when I was dancing. I was
Wow.
not aware who is watching. Like, they say dance like no one. I was like that when I was a kid. But then, your parents wanted to become something else. So they wanted me to do Kathak. They wanted to, like become a career, so to say. So it became more like a performance. You have to, like, uh,
Yeah.
get first prize for it. Have
Yeah.
you have to like perform for people. People have to like you. And performance means you have to do certain things like in a group or something, not
Yeah.
just for the sake of dancing. So I just, like, ultimately I just left it all together.
Mm.
So that was very kind of shattering experience, which I did not realize I missed, because I like dancing, but I did not like that, like the difference between abstract and fine art. So Kathak is also very, disciplined kind of dance form. You have to like do certain things. You have to be in a box, so to say. You can't just be like do anything. And then
Mm.
there all this consciousness comes when you are a HSP. You're so aware of everything. How, like, if people are like you or don't like you, are they disappointed in you? You have so many expectations. You actually notice everyone's expressions when you're highly sensitive,
Right.
so you can actually see.
I
So
yeah,
the and yeah, there was also like overstimulation also happens when you get into the teenager phase. There's all these sensitivity also heightens. I experienced that. So yeah, so ultimately I just stopped altogether. I was mainly dancing in parties, like, like on the dance floor. But I sort of missed that part of me. And I believe now, if I dance, it could also help me release my emotions. Like, as you say, abstract art helps you release your emotions. Dance can also do that for someone. And I knew that as a child, but I stopped it. So I just wanted to share, if someone listening like relates to it, yeah, you can start dancing just for you, not for someone else, not because someone is watching, not like you don't create abstract art for someone else to see. It's just for your own um, expression and an outlet for your emotions, and obviously then it can become a masterpiece, but you don't do it for that.
Well, yeah, like you said, so it could be for you can paint for two reasons. You can paint professionally and you can
Yeah.
paint professionally and for yourself. Like there are two things you can do. But but like you said, I focus on painting for myself and professionally both. Um, and just today I was having a conversation with somebody and they mentioned Van Gogh and how they're sort of like quite fascinated with their art. And I was also like, yeah, Van Gogh is really famous. And then a few days ago, somebody else mentioned a very famous artist. And I was like, yeah, that person is really famous. But then I truly believe that everybody has an innate potential of being an artist, whether or not they have the training.
Yeah.
And we should focus on
Yes.
that solely. And especially if you're highly sensitive, I truly believe that one is really in touch with their intuitive self, their creative self, their soul, their higher self. And when you paint, at least when I paint, I experience a deep connection with all these parts, whether it's my intuition, my creative self, my higher self,
True.
my soul. Whatever I paint is like an expression of all those parts. And I think even these famous artists might have experienced those connections. Um, and I fully believe that every highly sensitive person whether they are doing fine art or abstract art, has the potential to tap into their emotions and really listen to themselves. And that is very much needed if you're highly sensitive, because our lives are so different, especially if you're living in a with a family who is not highly sensitive. Our experiences can be so rare for them. Like what we say, what
Yes,
we experience might be just something mythical, and but for us it's very much real. And in those times, I think it's very important to be in a place where you have the skill to tap into yourself, whether it's your creative self, your intuitive self, your higher self, soul, and get answers for yourself. And when I mean answers, I don't mean if you're stuck in an area, okay, like what do I do next? It's not like we'll get an answer, okay, go here, go there, those sort of answers. But I mean answers of hope, answers of faith, answers of trust, and answers of just being there for yourself, like just coming from a place of deep self love, which is so important, especially if you're not surrounded by highly sensitive people. So that's
yes,
what is the most important, then focusing on how your painting looks. And I truly have experienced this every time I paint from that place, people end up liking my art. They feel like it's really nice, it's really unique. They've not seen it anywhere. They like the colors, they like the strokes. So I'm not trying to make art for somebody else or make art with strokes or colors that please somebody else. It's truly
mm,
an expression of my emotion or what I'm sort of going through in that point in time. But I guess when you're honest with your art, like you said, you just do it for yourself, it
yes.
is really appreciated and valued by the world.
Exactly. It's such a paradox in everything. So when you just do it for its sake of doing it, then it gets appreciated a lot. And you also feel that, you know, sense of fulfillment while doing it.
Yeah,
Uh, unless you do it just for that, you don't feel that kind of fulfillment and you don't even get that expression which you were seeking in the first place. So if you just do it for a performance sake, you don't get that release, that creative expression which you wanted. So yeah,
yeah,
and it's that, like you said, if you're not surrounded by HSPs, then it's really hard to understand yourself and be with your own truth. And
yeah,
because there is a constant self doubt. If you
yeah,
share your experience to your family and they don't understand, then they may say things which, like, that is not what is happening, and maybe they gaslight you, and maybe they are well meaning and don't know what is happening to you. So they might see it as a flaw. They might even see it as insanity sometimes, because it is
yeah,
like it is a gift of our deep thinking, but
yeah,
it can also lead to overthinking if you don't know how to process it and how to manage it. So the, like, last few days I'm questioning everything. And even though I know I'm highly sensitive, I've always been like this. I question everything. Like, whatever society is doing, I will question. Oh, is it what it has to supposed to we are supposed to be doing? Like, is this what, like, do I have to go to school? Do I have to study like this? Like, I question everything. Is it there? Is there God? Is there, like, I will
yeah,
question everything. So that is who I am, and lots of highly sensitive people are like that. We question everything because we are
yeah,
deep thinker. Then it is how we process, our mind processes, and that's why we understand things so deeply, because we question the reality. So I was questioning everything. I was questioning my whole experience with manifestation, with coaching, with healing. Is manifestation even real? Is this, like, all fake? Does this even work? And I was thinking I'm going mad. What am I doing? So because I was getting to the depth of it. Because
Okay.
sometimes you don't get the results, then you ask yourself, is this even real? Because most people don't ask themselves question. Now we have Google, we have so much information available, we just open a book, we just search on Google and we get the answers. But when you ask yourself questions, then you can get answers from your own personal experience. And sometimes, as you said, like when you just express yourself, just you're going through this process, and you express it through art. Maybe I express it through dance or journaling. I love writing, like just brain dump sort of journaling, not professional writing, but just writing down my thoughts. So you still have those questions. It's not like I will get the answer straight away,
Yeah.
but I will sit in the question. I will
Mm,
sit with the question. I will sit with that feeling, and I know the answer will come.
mm,
My like brain is working in the background. That trust is there because being highly sensitive, there are also experiences like when you just know things. I
yes.
uh, I believe you will also relate. So sometimes you just know things. Like
Mm,
your intuition tells you that downloads come because you just sit with that question long enough, then answers
mm,
will come. And you don't know when it comes, but it does.
mm. Yeah.
So yeah,
I, I, when you were talking about asking questions, I was remembering of a time when I was in university. I was in the UK, and I had so many questions in that phase of my life. Like, I had so many questions, and people used to get very irritated by my queries.
exactly.
And I remember sort of being a part of a church, a group, as in there was somebody who I knew who would invite me for Bible reading sessions, and I would go and I would ask these questions to them. And they were quite patient with my with me. But then, like you said, I had questions about God, about spirituality, about just misogyny, about sexism, about feminism, about science, about culture, about religion. And it just kept on sort of being in my mind as to why is the world this way? Why are we this way? Why is there so much pain in the world? Or why is there not
Yeah,
support in the world? Why don't we get sort of help when we need it? And it was just a very special time for me. So what you're saying is bringing that memory to me, and I'm still somebody who asks a lot of questions, and I feel that it's important, like you said. So I experience you know how you said when you have a question, you sit with it and you sort of get answers in your quiet time when you're journaling, etc. So I experience that when I'm painting actually. So I sit with the question, or I sit with the problem, I sit with the emotion. Most of the time, it's sitting with the emotion. For the past
right.
few months, I've been working on emotions of resentment and anger because those are the ones that we tuck away under the carpet, right? So I
True.
felt that it was really necessary. So before that, I was sort of sitting with just various other emotions. Um, I am also somebody who practices Heal Your Life, Louise Hay's philosophy, which also
Same.
works with the principle of emotion. So I'm quite comfortable with emotions, I think, in generally. So I sit with emotions and I sort of help myself by processing them through abstract art. And when I do make an artwork wherein I have focused on processing an emotion, I can feel physical and energetic changes after the artwork is done.
Truly, yes.
So yeah, I do resonate with what you're saying.
Yeah, so like it is so important to just process every emotion when it comes. I mean, you learn it as you go because we have taught to suppress our emotions as a kid. Then in school, you don't. As you grow up, basically, because you can't throw a tantrum in an office, right? So you just try to suppress your emotions because you don't have the time to feel all your emotions. But highly sensitive people, it's very important because we are so emotional. Obviously, that is true for everyone. So nobody has to suppress their emotions. Everybody has to, like, to
Yeah.
be able to give themselves the time to express all their emotions. But our fast-paced world doesn't allow us most of the times.
Yeah.
Last, as you said about resentment and anger, these are the most, most, what do you say, throw under throw them under the carpet
And the
emotions.
yeah.
And grief as well. I was uh,
Same.
tending to a lot of grief past month, and it was not related to present scenario. It was, I think, childhood or maybe past grief, which I couldn't fully process at that time because I was not given that kind of safe space to feel, to cry, to let out my emotions. Because sometimes in our Indian family system, you're not allowed to cry. क्यों रो रहे हो? Like, they will say, why are you crying? What does crying, like, crying doesn't help anyone, but it does. It does help. Like, if you just let your emotion express itself fully in the present moment, then you will have no diseases at all. Like, as Louis says in Hero Life, then you will have zero diseases.
Yeah.
But
But
we don't
I feel,
process it, so
yeah, I feel quite
yeah.
emotional listening to you because something is just coming to my surface. So first of all, I don't think highly sensitive people are necessarily emotional. I think we just feel the emotions too much. Like we can literally feel how emotions of anger feel.
Empathy, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, more than empathy, I think it's just sensitivity towards a particular emotional charge is high and awareness towards it is high. I think for a normal person, if they're sad, they notice it once. If they're sad, okay, let's move on. But for a
Mhm.
highly sensitive person, I think if we are sad, we feel a lot of physical symptoms like a chest can feel heavy, we can feel bloated, we can feel like we're feeling dizzy, or we can feel very low on
Even
energy.
joy and excitement as well.
Yeah, even exactly. And I did some educational posts about that as well. Like, even when you're happy, you have physical signs of that. You can see physical signs of that. So
Yes.
we're experiencing all emotions in our body. It's very high physical experience as well, along with emotional experience. So I think that's one thing. And secondly, excuse me, I feel that um, crying is very important. I agree with it. So there was a period in my life, I think from 2023 to 2024, I was experiencing a lot of trauma, a lot of emotional trauma in my life. And there came a point where I just stopped crying. And it was because of just, sorry, experiencing a lot of situations where where people were critical about me being vulnerable or open about my emotions. And it just felt very inauthentic to me if I was not being vulnerable and not talking about my emotions. But now, recently, in the past few months, I've started crying again. So I'm really happy about that. Sorry, I'm just recovering from a cold. So So yeah, I really think it's important to express your grief as well. How has your journey been? How did you find out that you were highly sensitive?
Okay, so actually, I came across, I think, a video on YouTube, uh, like 10 signs you're a highly sensitive person, something like that. Maybe 2022, I believe that was because I starting my healing, like consciously healing journey in 2021. So, like, consciously, I started taking life coaching and doing all this Heal Your Life and everything. So, in 2022, when I'm consuming all this content, around healing, trauma, personality development, all these things on YouTube, so I came across. a YouTube video, but then I was not in that state. Like I would never accept that I'm a highly sensitive person. I would never, So I just maybe watched that video. I just consumed it, but I didn't, you know, let it get to me, emotionally. So maybe I just bypassed it, sort of. So,
Yeah.
but in 2024, when I was much in alignment, I was like further in my healing journey. Then one day when I was writing, like I was very much writing about my purpose. I had left my job in 2023. I was in a corporate job, like as a retail planner and buyer for 5 years, and I was not happy. There was toxic culture, and I had this pattern of constantly attracting a toxic manager. So I had this pattern. So I finally took the plunge,
Sorry.
and yeah, you can go like have some water if you want to.
It's fine. It's just one of those itchy, scratchy, resistant
Okay,
throat problems. Sorry.
okay, that's okay. Okay, so yeah, I had that pattern. So I was healing that as well. I did a lot of inner child healing, and finally I understood that it's like if I'm healing as well, so I can leave that job and just focus on my healing. So I took that step, very courageous step. It was very hard, like to just surrender and like leave the job, because at that point of time I was like, please God, take care of me. I can't be in this toxic job anymore. I'll just lose myself in this. So I can't just take it. It was a lot of office politics, toxic man. It was really, I'm just saying, really toxic. So I just left it and I focused. I did Vipassana at that time, basically, and then later last year only. So later in that year, when I was writing my purpose again, like what I want to do now. So then when I started writing, HSP came on its own. I want to help highly sensitive people find out their strengths and how they can bring out their creativity and have a job where it supports them and have financial freedom. So this came out of me. And even I was shocked looking at it on the paper, like I am writing this.
Yeah.
So at that point, so that's what, like, that, intuition, or high sensitivity, that download that basically came. uh,
Mm.
so I just wrote it, and then I
Mm.
went on chat gpt. I asked like about high sensitivity, like I wanted to read more about it, basically. So
Right.
then I ordered the book, The Highly Sensitive Person by Elian Aaron. And I was just crying a lot that day, because I finally, sometimes you know things, but you are not ready to accept it. That was the day I finally accepted it. Like, yes, I am a highly sensitive person. And then I took the step also. I ordered the book. I, connected with that. I'm forgetting the name, but there is a friend of Dr. Ellen Ahrens. She is also a highly sensitive person. She was one of the first few people who connected to the book, and they have a retreat together. So I'm forgetting her name, but she has a website, and there she had written her whole story. Like, when I finally read this book, I felt heard, and now I feel my sensitivity is needed in this world. I am needed in this world, and I matter. And I connected so much to that, because sometimes, as a highly sensitive person, you get so misunderstood by people. Like, you
Yes.
feel like you don't matter. Your feelings don't matter. Your thoughts don't matter. You don't matter. Like, you're not needed. You're too sensitive for this world, too emotional, too, like all these labels. So I just so connected with that, and this is it. So then my journey in this high sensitivity, and then I became a life coach for highly sensitive people. And
Yeah.
that's how it started. Like, I'm still discovering more and more about myself through this lens. And like, I want to mention even Dr. Eden Aaron, like, who coined this term. He also says that we don't have to label ourselves highly sensitive. Like, we don't have to like tell someone we are highly sensitive. But because our culture is like that, our society is like that, we have sidelined, like, we are the sidelined people. Like, people have misunderstood us. They don't know what sensitivity is. So just because of that, now we have to label us highly sensitive, just so that we can understand ourselves, and just so that people can also understand us. So it's not because we are superior or anything, but because we have felt inferior our whole life, because of, people constantly telling us we are too much. So now we have to compensate it. Oh, right. So she says, like, now we have to feel like a little superior and tell people we are highly sensitive. So to just balance it out.
Well, I feel that it's a choice. Like being highly sensitive. I mean, speaking about high sensitivity with a label of highly sensitive person is a choice for sure. Because I know a lot of people when I speak about my high sensitivity, like I openly say I'm a highly sensitive empath. And when I explain to them what it is, so they'll be like, yeah, I think even I'm highly sensitive, but I don't want to call myself that. At least that's the sort of signal I get from them. So people, I
Mm.
think there are a lot of people who know that, but they don't want to take the plunge and say, this is the reality I want to live. They accept the fact
Yeah,
that we're
because
living in
it's
a
very hard to
society.
accept
One
it.
second.
Like, you get a lot of judgment also. Like,
One second, one second. So, it's not. Yeah, there is judgment, but there is also a lot of figuring out one has to do when you accept that you're highly sensitive. It's a very different path altogether. So I think
true.
that becomes a problem. What do you think?
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, because of this past conditioning and lots of reactions you will get from people and judgment. I think many people don't want to call themselves sensitive. Even I had this judgment around myself only, because you have that voice inside you, that is judgmental, your inner critic. So I had that, if I will call myself sensitive, that is like telling someone narcissistic to take advantage of me, because I'm openly saying I'm sensitive, take advantage of me. Like, that was sort of my inner voice. But
Mm,
it is not the truth. Highly sensitive doesn't mean you are weak, you don't have any boundaries. That is a totally different angle. High sensitivity is not equal to weakness. High sensitivity means you notice subtle things, subtle changes, subtleties in your environment which other people miss. So
yes, yeah.
people take sensitivity in the wrong way.
That is true. And I also like to add to what you said about uh, attracting toxic managers. I think highly sensitive people also attract narcissists a lot more than non highly sensitive people, talking about narcissists. But like I said, the more we focus on having coping tools, the less our attention and focus go there, and then the less we attract them. And I feel that the more we are able to focus on our gifts, the less we sort of get prone to lower people, situations, and energies anyway.
Yeah, I think for me, it came to inner child healing, because when you're tuned to that frequency, now when you are constantly attracting narcissists, so there is a pattern which is going on. You have to heal that pattern. Unless
Mm.
you heal it, you will keep attracting those kind of people, because you have to learn something. Like I had to learn how to set boundaries, how to say no, how to stop people pleasing. Like I had to learn those things. Like I had to heal my attachment style. So I, like, it was also a good thing I was attracting those kind of people, because I had to heal that part of myself. Because now I am a totally different person.
Yeah,
Now, even if a narcissist will come, I will know. I will not engage with them. Earlier, I will engage with them. I will not be able to discern that this person doesn't have good intentions for me.
yeah,
So you just have to limit your interaction with them. Everyone has those kind of tendencies, narcissistic tendencies. Everyone can have, but you
yeah,
just have to like discern and limit your interaction with them, so to say.
yeah.
So,
I also feel
yeah.
abstract art and art helps a lot with inner child healing. Tried a lot of inner child modalities, healing modalities. They worked, but I felt that I was the most soothed when I would paint. Like I would just
Okay.
paint my trauma. I would paint. I just want to give a disclaimer for people to not try this unless they're experienced with it. Because if you try it, a lot can come up. And if you don't know how to manage that, then it can be a problem. So please don't try it without learning how to paint your trauma or how to sort of
Mm.
with trauma with art. But just on a personal level, because I have uh, done a lot of spiritual modalities, it came with a lot of teachings about inner child healing and how to be comfortable with what comes up, whether it's emotions, trauma, whether it is vipassana or heal your life. Or I also work with angels, so I'm always surrounded by them. They support me and soothe me during my art practices as well and guide me. So I have healed a lot of my wounds through art. And I feel that it's sort of a way for me that's safe. It feels safe for my inner child. And I think that's really important when you're doing inner child healing, wherein we have to pick a way where our inner child feels safe. It might feel like a great process to the world, but if our inner child feels unsafe, then I think it doesn't work. So
Yes.
abstract art really worked for me. Especially there's a paint called texture white. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a type of a paste. So it's a white paste basically. So it has a thicker consistency than the normal white paint. So it really works well with um, processing trauma for me. I'm able to process trauma with that specific paint. So
Okay.
I've noticed that specific colors also help in healing. So it's a great way to it's like a one-stop shop for a lot of things if you're highly sensitive.
Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing. I'm really fascinated by your like you talk about angels.
yeah,
Like I'm really fascinated by that. I've heard of it, but I've never experienced it personally. So I'm really fascinated by that
yeah.
whole.
Angels happened to me 4 years ago. I was going through a very steep ascension period, by which I mean it was a very almost life-threatening phase of my life where I was open to a lot of um to put it very subtly, energies. And I did not know how to cope with that because it was the first time I was so open to external energies, lower, higher, everything. My sensitivity was very high. I did not know whom to trust because everywhere I went, like whether it was a astrologer, tarot card reader, healer, to like ask for support as to what would work, they would say something, but that would not work. Like that would not be the truth, and I was getting very frustrated. So I wanted to learn something wherein I could directly get some sort of guidance, and I did not have to go to another human being because I was not able to trust anybody, and nobody was able to sort of give me guidance that was helping me basically. So that's when I learned about them. It's been over 4.5 years, and I work with angels, archangels, dragons, unicorns. Now I'm also learning about nature spirits. Uh, so my relationship with them is very intimate. It's almost like they're my best friends, and I can talk to them about anything under the roof, and they know me better than I know myself. And that's the beauty of, I think, working with them. And just today, I was updating my services page on my website, and although I was doing that before, where I sort of help highly sensitive artists, but when I do help them, it's not just me who's helping them, it's my whole entire angelic team who's speaking through me sometimes. So I just thought, let's just mention that I work with my angelic team and make that a very real part of my services and one-on-one sort of coaching or guidance services, wherein I can work with highly sensitive people and creative people, but through my team, so that I'm able to connect to their angelic team, because everybody has angels. You don't have to be like a lucky one to have angels. Like, you have angels as well. And everybody on the planet, if you're a human being, if you have life, everybody has angels. Plants have angels, animals have angels. So the goal is would be now to work with their angelic team so that they get more support. It's not just me, but my angels, their angels, so that they are guided on a path that is fully for them, and it's not just from what I am saying or what I think might be right for them, but it's
Mm.
actually right for them. So I added that to my services page today, and I decided very clearly that let's be very open about it, because that's the truth. And in this journey of learning about my high sensitivity, whether it's through angels or art, I've realized that honesty matters a lot to me. Uh,
Mm.
and if I'm not honest with myself or the world, somewhere I feel like it shows, and things don't work out. So
Right.
I felt like let's just be as honest as possible, and I updated it today. But the point is that angels are uh, a part of my life, yes, and the goal is now to speak about them, share about them, write about them as well. A part of it, a part of my career as well. But they're with everybody. Like I said, they're also with you. I'm sure uh, that we're all watched over, whether or not we call on them.
Such a beautiful thing. I mean, like I would really like wish that you will answer that how you can start this journey, because this feels so beautiful, and I know my brain cannot understand this like angelic things, but I do believe in magic. I do believe in all these things. Like I do believe in all this stuff. So it's like, you feel so alone sometimes. It's like you have also been through hard times and you feel so alone. Like even to the point when it hurts. Like nobody is there who understands me, who I can talk to, as you said. I have also been through that phase, because when you're in healing journey, the isolation also happens when you're going through that process of transformation, and you're very much alone in that, with your
Yeah,
emotions and with everything, because you have to go inside
yeah.
yourself. But it is so beautiful when you say like somebody's watching over us, and I also do believe it. I believe like I am here because universe helped me, God is protecting me, and I'm not religious, so to say. I don't like um pray to a particular God, but I do believe in God. So this angelic, this is very fascinating and very beautiful if you can be constantly connected with some kind of, maybe a power or light, you can say, whatever like you see, or some whatever. If like I have not experienced it personally, so I will not be able to say more
Um,
about it, but it is very fascinating to be constantly like, there is a movie called if
yes,
uh
yes,
imaginary friend.
Yes,
Like
yes.
every, yeah, so everyone, like every child has different kind of friends that, like, their soul friends, so to say. So there was, I think, water type of friend and animals and so many different kind of friends people had to, like. But as you're saying, angels is not imaginary, it's very much real and everybody has it. So if someone is curious about connecting with their angels, so then how can they start, basically?
Well, I would say that there's always a prayer that you can ask your angel to pray for you. We often are told you pray to the angels, and because we consider them to be superior. I don't think they are superior. They don't like us to believe so. At least that's how I've been trained. Also, this training has been given directly by my angels to me. So I perceive them through my gifts. I have learned about them through spiritual teachers, but my actual proper learning has been quite directly with them. And I honestly have worked extremely hard to understand them. It has not come easily because I am very logical as a person, because I have a scientific background and I'm very practical as well. But with the angels, it's very non-linear. You have to not think too much, which was very
Exactly.
difficult for me because I would be sort of, my mind was always working. But over the years, I've trained myself to work with them in ways that suit me. But I think the safest way they have taught me is to share this, is to ask your guardian angels or angels to pray for you. If you want something, if you want to build a connection, to ask them to pray that a connection is formed between you and that angel in some means. I think that's a very good way to start.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just wait for that divine timing to just, like, I connect with my angels, because I'm very, like, open to receiving that kind of support, uh, to
Hmm.
that realm, I think, as you say.
Well,
So
if you're talking about them so sort of without any hesitation, you might be so. That might be the case, that you might be quite, at least there's a lot of excitement that I sense from your end.
okay.
So you might actually be able to, I don't know, maybe perceive them as well. Who knows? Anything is possible, right? So, but I think coming back to high sensitivity, I think a lot of highly sensitive people, uh, like you said, feel alone and feel like there's no hope left in their life. I think those are the times when they should reach out to people who know a little bit more than them about high sensitivity, whether it's through you, through your coaching, through me. If they're artists, I think it's important to give yourself that support. So I
Yes, yeah, it is very, like, very comforting to talk with an HSP. As you can see, we both are talking and it feels so comforting, and like someone finally gets you. So
Hmm.
it's very easy to talk to an HSP is what I feel, because when people talk to me, that is, they feel very easy to open up and speak about everything and anything, but I don't. Like, I take time to open up to people. I don't, like, just go out and tell everything to like, I don't, I'm not that. I take time to open up to people. So, like you said, I love talking to people. I can talk about many things, like, many topics, because I read a lot. I know a lot of things, very, very, like, on travel, on healing, or any topic. I mean, so to say, on moon, on sunsets. You can talk about anything in depth, but I will not open up, so to say, about me so much, my emotions or those kind of things. But talking to a HSP, I mean, like, to you, Pranita, I could also open up freely. So I believe like talking to a HSP is very comforting and very easy, basically, which I was giving to people I
Mm.
was not getting. So I believe, yeah. So as
Well,
you said, like approaching a HSP is a good uh, thing.
I, on the one hand, I do believe that people can easily open up to HSPs, but there was a point in my life where I was surrounded by HSPs virtually. Maybe it
Okay.
was the virtual world or something, but I felt it is sometimes difficult to also talk to HSPs. If you're an HSP and you have like similar sort of experiences, your fears are the same,
Mm-hmm.
etc. So I feel that, or if you haven't really worked on your gifts,
Mm-hmm.
like you don't know what your HSP qualities or abilities are, a lot can come up. So I feel that now I have a different perception. I had the similar perception as you a few years ago, but now I feel that I'm more comfortable with both non-HSPs and HSPs in regards to communication because I think I've accepted myself more. I just feel like you can be an HSP or not an HSP, but I will still be an HSP, and that's okay, sort of a thing. It comes from that place. Uh, but I feel that even if you are an HSP, like at least this is my perceptions, has been my experience. And of course, speaking to you feels really good. But I'm just saying, like, when there are two HSPs and one of them has a very different personality from the other. And I think Dr. Elaine Aaron mentions this that not all HSPs are saints or something like that. They
Mm-hmm.
can also be narcissists. And especially if you're an HSP and you have unhealed traumas, it can be really nasty sometimes, I feel. Um, and if you're not working on yourself as well, you're not sort of developing spiritually or emotionally, it can be quite the mess. Uh, so HSP or non-HSP, but if one is an HSP, like if there is somebody who's listening to this and if they are an HSP and they feel alone, getting support from another HSP in that context is very important. Because like you said, it's difficult to share our experiences. That's where I feel the need is because our experiences are so rare, like how we are talking about angels and stuff. If we speak about it with somebody who is not an HSP, they might just brush it off, or they might just not really want to talk about it, let alone
Yeah,
believe it.
sometimes yes, yes, yes.
So yeah.
Unless and until they are spiritual and they believe in those things, like they will not be open to it. I mean,
Yes. Yeah. That's my concern as well. So
yeah.
uh,
So sometimes I feel like I'm in my own bubble, so to say, because most people don't talk about these things, or they are not receptive to even like receive new information. You know, like we are talking about all these things. Even if you say something which I don't know, I'm able to, okay, maybe that's your truth. Maybe I have not seen it, I have not feel it, but still it can be true. So
yeah.
if someone is open to receive new information, new dimensions, I think, experience new dimensions. So,
I just feel that um, after a point, if you're working on your traumas, you stop attracting people who don't have sort of
yes.
a like-minded mindset. So I think
Uh,
we sort of heal our traumas. I think the better our attraction quality gets.
I would agree and disagree.
Okay.
Like, yes, we do attract a lot more healed people, integrated people, like, but also it is not the people, it is more like because we are healed, we are attracting ourselves, because what they say, you actually attract your mirror, you know,
Yeah.
that's what they say, right? So Actually, if I would, I think that I was not healed in the past. Even though I was sensitive, I was not putting my trauma on anyone. I was not narcissistic. Still, I was attracting those kind of people because my boundaries were not strong. I was people pleasing. I was tolerating those kind of behaviors. But
Right.
now I will not. Like even if they like text me one line, I will know like this is going to like I will know. Like I will know their intention is what. Like I will know. So I will not, get on further with that conversation. I will get the feeling in
Right.
one conversation. So I believe you attract what you are, so to say. It is very hard pill to swallow. Even I didn't want to, uh, you know, you don't want to accept it, but it
Yeah.
is like you attract what you are more, basically. So when, as you said, you are healed, you are in alignment, you attract more people who are healed and in alignment, basically. So you are saying,
Yeah.
I agree and disagree. That's why I said I agree and I disagree.
So, so do you? It's I follow this spiritual teacher called Diana Cooper. So I've learned about angels through her work. So she says that fear attracts fear. So
Mhm.
you might not be a narcissist, but if you're fearful of narcissists, you can attract a narcissist. You know what I mean? So that I feel like you don't have to be a bully to attract a bully, but if you're sort of scared of bullies, uh,
Hmm.
you can attract a bully as well. So that's my sort of understanding of it, which I agree with. Uh,
Yes, very much true. Because there was a fear, like if I will talk to someone, oh, again that will happen. When you constantly attract those kind of people, you get scared of then approaching someone else, and again that will happen. You like
I
you are
don't.
really fearful. When like there was a time I was actually fearful it will happen again. If I try something new, if I talk to someone new, it will happen again. So
Yeah.
yeah, you have to overcome that fear.
I feel like I sort of experience a lot of artistic blocks and creative blocks as well. And that's also stemming from fear, right? And just overcoming them as well has been quite the experience. It's been quite um, sort of it's sort of the fear of not doing good, of having an imposter syndrome, or like being perfectionist comes up there. And I feel like a lot of highly sensitive people can be that way, whether it's with their creativity or even with their own healing journey. If sort of something happens,
Never enough. Yeah,
yeah.
you're never healed enough. Like yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a learning process, and we're always sort of attracting something we don't want, but we need to keep going, sort of a thing.
True, very much true. We have to just keep going. I mean,
Yeah.
we have to have that courage and just keep going.
Yeah. So Aditi, who was your ideal audience if you had to like lay it down for viewers?
Ideal audience would be seekers, spiritual seekers, dreamers who want to create their dream life and thrive in life, not just survive, thrive in life. So I help people understand their sensitivity, bring out their true gifts of sensitivity, and thrive spiritually, personally, and professionally. Because most people think that spirituality means you have to be poor, but no, that is not the case. You can be rich and spiritual. So yes, that is like the dreamers who are ready to finally make their dream life come true. So that is what I am, basically. What I was, I always like I have this Instagram handle as Aditi Dreamer. I always was a dreamer, am a dreamer. I always believe in, you know, big things. Like anything is possible if you put your mind to it. So I've always been that kind of a person, and that is what I want to attract more of, like connect with those kind of
Right. So my ideal audience is somebody who's highly sensitive and creative. But if they are specifically working with abstract art, and they would be my ideal audience. That doesn't mean if somebody is creative and highly sensitive, they can't work with me. They can. But I just feel that because I also practice abstract art, um, I think that's why I'm sort of specifying that people who are highly sensitive people and work with abstract art can also reach out to me. Uh, so my space is called expressivesensitive.com. I've been working on it for the past 2 years. I love it, absolutely love it. I have a weekly art blog that I post, and I educate highly sensitive people about evidence based content surrounding high sensitivity and encourage them to follow their creative radar and work with abstract art, and also share a lot of personal stories about high sensitivity that can empower them and help them embrace themselves. So that's something I do as well. And I have a shop, online shop, where I sell my abstract artwork. And
I love your artwork.
thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, it's just very exciting. And I am looking forward to meeting as many highly sensitive and creating people as possible in my life.
Same here. It was a delight talking with you, and it didn't even feel like we are talking for so long. Like time just passed. I mean, the ideas were just flowing when we were starting. We were thinking like, how did this conversation go? But it flowed like on its own.
Yeah, yeah. I am so glad to have had the chance to speak with you as well about so many things, so many important things. And I feel like when I speak about my high sensitivity, I undergo a subtle healing internally. So I think that has happened for me today. So I'm glad. And thank you.
Same,
And I hope
same.
we can do this again, maybe soon.
Yes, definitely. I love talking to you. So,
Likewise. Okay,
okay,
thank you.
thank you.